Well, we broke down and bought a plasma cutter. This is the cheapest plasma cutter that we could find on, where did we get this? Amazon?
Yeah.
The cheapest plasma cutter on Amazon. So this is a Cut 50F, whatever that means. So let's unbox this thing and we'll see what's in here. So we've needed a plasma cutter for years, and having one now will be really nice. It'll make cutting metal and stuff a lot easier. So this is the blue one. This is the Chinese, I guess. Jafel. Cut 50D plasma cutter. So we have a little manual, I guess.
Don't need that.
Sure. I have no idea what that is. We have some hoses. This might be the flow regulator. Oh, it does have a plug. No way. Do you have a three twist? No. No, that's not it. Can you get the box for a second? Oh, I even got some consumables in there. Alright, so that's the Cut 50. So we'll put a link down in the description for this plasma cutter and or in the comments. So I guess we'll take this thing out of the packaging. Boy, it comes with a... This is actually a nice ground clamp. Not very springy. But whenever they have the copper, this has the copper on the inside. So you can get a good ground. Well, that's actually kind of nice. I'm impressed so far. This thing isn't, it's not super heavy. I think do you remember the shipping weight?
No.
No? Maybe 20 pounds? So you have the on-off switch here. I'll bring you guys in closer. These are the controls. You have on-off. And then you have a minimum and a maximum setting for the thickness. And then there's a digital readout. That must be the over temp, maybe. And I guess that's to tell you that it's on. So your plasma cutter itself goes in there. There's your ground. I'm not sure what that is. Like I said, comes with a hose. Must be some consumables and stuff in there. And the ground clamp. The leads are not super long. Yeah, you want to take that out? So this is a dual voltage. It's a 110 and 120 volt machine. So there's your plasma cutter itself. So that's to go. That's for power.
This is for your air, I think.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because you need air to come through here.
Well, how does power get to it?
That's probably what that does.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, this is the power, and then I guess that's the air. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is the very first time I've ever even seen a plasma cutter in person. Have you used?
I've never used one.
You've never used one?
My boss used one on my truck.
Yeah. So this is definitely not the best one out there, but you know, it's something for us to start with and just to kind of just test out the waters, I guess. So yeah, that you have to pull that thing off. So that comes off, and then that screws on. And then, yeah, that gets plugged into the front.
Or that could be power and that could be air.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, this looks like an electrical connection. This looks like air.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right about that.
And then the ground goes on. So you have a little button. And there's the nozzle and stuff. So from what I've heard, you have to keep the nozzle up off of the workpiece when you are cutting. And here's our ground. If I can get my camera to focus here. But I'll tell you, I'm impressed with that ground. That's a nice ground. The wire's not super thick, but I guess it'll work out. I mean, I'll tell you what, I am so excited about having a plasma cutter finally. And you're supposed to
Cut away from you?
yeah, cut away from you.
Yeah, cutting towards you gives you control. Ooh.
Oh, is that damage? No. I think that's paint or something on there.
That's weird.
Whatever. It's not rubbed through.
As long as it works.
Yeah, as long as it works, that's all we care about. So I guess, are these like a DINS connector? Is that Titan? Yeah.
Push in and turn.
So the ground is, what?
5 feet.
Yeah, probably about 5 feet. And then the torch length for the
Torch
cutter.
is longer.
Yeah, this is definitely... What would you say? That's... Oh, my. Boy, that's a lot.
What's the point of the ground if
Yeah.
the torch leads? That's probably about 15 feet.
I would guess, well...
No, the shop's 24, and that reaches well across half. I'd say about 15 feet.
Yeah. Alright, so that's pretty sweet. And on the back of the machine there is a fan. And here are some settings, I guess. There's some specs on it. Power factors, 27.5 amps. So I see 100% duty cycle, 35. So if we're running this on 50 amps, 100 volts, I don't really know exactly what all that means, but this is where the air comes in, and that's what the white hose is for. And then this is the power. So it comes with, I didn't think this thing came with an end on it, and this is the end that it comes with. So this is a dual voltage machine. I would like to buy a separate end on this thing, so another plug, but not change out this one. Have this one that you can plug it into the other extension cord and convert 220, which is what it is now, into, or 240 into 120. So this must be the flow regulator.
Yeah.
So that gets mounted somewhere on this thing. Yeah, this gets mounted back here. The flow regulator gets mounted here. And the reason we chose this one, mainly because the switch and stuff, everything's all up front. And same thing with this gauge. That's probably for the air. And you can see how many PSI it is. But I'll tell you what, I am pretty happy about this and excited to run this thing. So this is a air in and out. And that's flow, I guess, or pressure. There you go. That's pretty simple. So I guess you want to put this thing together now?
Doesn't matter. Probably have to wait until we get the plug in.
Yeah, and then I guess you're going to rewire that plug for the plug that we have,
Yeah, let's do this for that one.
which is a...
I have welding plugs.
Do you have a welding plug? What is this one?
That's a range.
Is that what we're going to put on it?
Maybe.
See, we're going to have to... We need clean power because this is an inverter. This is an inverter plasma cutter, and we need clean power to run it. We would run it off our generator, but our generator is just a regular generator. It is not a inverter generator. So I guess we'll probably have to put a new end on that thing, and fortunately my brother's pretty good at electrical. The handle here is plastic, and the rest of this blue is all metal. And, you know, I'm no plasma cutter expert, but, you know, whenever I can push this whole machine, well, I used to be able to, pushing it by the top of the on button, it seems to be somewhat good quality. You know, it's, like I said, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's a start for us, and you know, we're just trying to get started with plasma cutting. I've used an angle grinder and metal cutting bandsaws a ton, and having a plasma cutter will be a really nice addition to the metal cutting arsenal. So we did have to get out the owner's manual, which is a whopping, how many pages?
10.
I think this thing is 10 pages. Yeah, 10 pages. So here's how the plasma cutter gets set up.
I think we're missing parts. We don't have that gauge.
Maybe you have to buy your own. Unless there's something else in there.
Yeah, we're missing the gauge.
Yeah.
Come on, China.
Well, heck, you probably have a gauge laying around here somewhere. Hopefully it's not like a metric threading or something.
It might be.
But this is how everything gets set up, and so you have the power and air output switch plug and a ground connection. So that's what all those are on the front.
The heck with that regulator.
You want to use yours? Yeah, yours is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. This is a Harbor Freighty. Be able to steal a gauge off that.
Well, I'd use this one that came with it.
Yeah. It's not crusted up.
Yeah. So that's... They show it with the gauge, and there's definitely no gauge in here. Now, I will say that this rubber stuff, this is really thin on this, so we're going to have to be careful when we cut that we don't lay that torch cord over any hot pieces of metal, because this little rubber stuff is super thin.
So I'm not using one of their hose barb fittings. The heck with that. I'm going to put a quick disconnect on it so I can use my air compressor.
Yeah, so
but they have a little error here for flow.
Yeah, so
and if you flip it 180, there's another error on the back.
Yeah, so you kind of can't really mess this up. I don't know what that Allen key is on the back.
I think that's another port if you wanted to, I don't know, maybe put another gauge in or something, or another line for something.
Okay. But yeah, so it goes from left to right. I just noticed the manual is for it shows a cut 50D and ours is a cut 50F. And I think the reason we figured out why they don't have a gauge here is because there's a gauge on the front of the machine. So we'll have to figure out how to hook that up with a manual that's for a cut 50D when we have a cut 50F. I just saw on this ground clamp, they have actually soldered the connection. Wow. I will say neither my brother or I are professional metal fabricators or anything like that. We're not a professional doing this. We're just your at-home DIY DIY people that, you know, we have some metal to cut. My brother has some a bumper to cut on his truck to fit a hitch on it, and I think that's probably what we're going to use this thing for first. And if this thing works out, there's a chance I will probably buy one for myself. So make sure you guys stick around for the second part in this series where we will finally start to get this thing, you know, set up to plasma cut. This is just kind of the initial setup, first impressions, and unboxing of the cheapest 110-220 plasma cutter on Amazon. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this video, and like I said, make sure you click that subscribe button, hit the like button, And if you want to be notified whenever I post a new video, click the little bell. So hopefully we will see you all in the second part where we'll try to cut some steel. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.